Shabbat the spiritual desert, things that nowadays seem snakes camouflage just to fit the scene.
Oi, bin sich a haich, alle gleich, lo mir so
im Weg Moschiach. Hoi bin sich alle gleich, lo mich so sein. Mashiach bin sich alle gleich. Lo mit solche sein, lo mit solche sein.
Thank you. Blessed are you who desires we return. 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 Lion of Judah, arise in the night. It's about time we set the story right. God gave the Torah beautiful light, teaches us how to know wrong from right. In a world full of anger, we're put to the test, but it's just not about who's worse or who's best. Turn towards the good, run from the rest. Fight for your dreams like your last conquest. In these dark times I still see God's light glimmering from the heart of Jerusalem. to Brooklyn. Open your mind, the love lies within. Drown in the darkness or learn how to swim. Yes, the Lion of Judah will rise in the night. With a broken heart, we will do what is right. Arise, my people, step into the light. Return to God with all of your might. Blessed are you, who desires we return. 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 Blessed are you.
It's time to come out of the Matrix.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. The great Oz has spoken.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland.
Welcome, everyone, to Beyond the Matrix, Jewish Answers for Life and Faith. I'm your host, Ira Michelson, along with my co-host,
Rod Bryant.
If you're listening right now, it's because you made the decision to unplug and join the real world.
Look, you're not going to find anyone controlling things from behind the curtain here. No need to click your heels 3 times. Just make the choice between the blissful ignorance of illusion or embrace the sometimes painful truth of reality.
We have an exciting show for you today, so get strapped in as we go beyond the Matrix.
Here. Has it been a long week for you?
Reuven David Bryant.
Hello.
Was machst du?
Hey, has it been a long week for you?
It hasn't, actually.
It hasn't?
No,
you got moved in last week. Did you get settled in okay?
My week flew by. It's like,
wow.
Well, I mean, I moved in, and then it's been like...
My week went by like molasses in Israel during the blizzard.
Really?
Yes. I worked a lot of hours, had to teach 5th graders for 2 days. Boy, that's a trial in itself.
5th graders for 2 hours would be too much for me.
2 hours, 2 days, yeah. I should try that one.
But then
Believe
again,
me.
Look, you could come to my shul where the average age of the person next to me is probably 92.
Oh, man.
I do a class after Shacharis. I do a class on the weekly Parsha.
Right.
This morning, you had Shimon Ashkenazi, who's 96. You have Mr. Sussman, who's like 88. I could go on and on. It's like
so do they sleep through your class?
I'm the nursery bacher.
Yeah,
with these guys.
So as long as you're not changing diapers, I guess that would
it's
be
true.
fine.
But yeah, everything's slow here. But I'm busy because you move to Delray Beach, you move into a retirement community, and all you do is go to doctors now. I go to doctors.
Go to doctors and go to bed by 8.
Go to doctors and go to bed by 8. Yeah, yeah. Because
so you got a busy week next week, though, don't you?
You know why you have to be in bed by 8? Did I ever tell you that story? It's a funny story. I was in a restaurant one time, and this woman walked in, and the guy was sitting at the table, and the guy was acting like he was a manager, and the woman said, "What time are you open until?" And he said, "Sweetheart, it doesn't matter what time we're open till. You need to be in bed by 8 o'clock because you got to be up at 5:30 in the morning for breakfast."
That's funny.
Yeah. So anyway, I have a busy week. That's if I end up going.
I know the ice storm up in Canada.
Yeah, it's been crazy weather all over. I mean, look, we got Rabbi Katz on today. We're going to get him on in a few minutes. And he's they just went through a big storm in Eretz Yisrael. And, Toronto, Rabbi Skobach just IM'd me earlier today, and he's like, "I don't know, Habibi." He's like, they have an ice storm there. There's down power lines. There's no power at his house. There's no power at the shul at Sharei Tefillah where I'm speaking Tuesday night. But God willing, Bezrat Hashem, they'll get everything back, and I'll be able to fly out on Tuesday. Although I will say that I looked at the weather, and I'm not real thrilled.
Well, it's not. You don't think it's going to get any better?
Well, it's going to be 11 degrees on Tuesday.
Oh,
and
that's too cold. I'm from Texas, man.
Dude, I'm from Florida. What are you talking about? It's we're like 78, 79
Are you going to show
today.
up with your shorts and tzitzit and a Hawaiian shirt with a Mai Tai?
No. So I'm going to have to tie my tzitzit around my ears or something to protect my ears. I mean, no, what happened was I went out and, we have this, all these sales that were going on around Thanksgiving. Right after Thanksgiving for, this holiday that's coming up, some holiday I heard about coming up this week. And this place was going out of business, so I went in there and they had like earmuffs and gloves and scarves.
Oh, wow.
So I got all that stuff. And
Did you get your big wool black coat?
I did. I bought I went to Burlington Coat Factory.
That's nice.
And I got, I had to buy, I needed something warm, but it's also with my weight loss. I had to. I haven't even tried it on. It's probably too big, big on me by now. I'll have to wear a sweater or something. So
that would not work.
Yeah. So the official count as of this morning is 174 pounds.
Just getting ready to ask. 174. Wow.
174 pounds.
That is a celebration.
That's that's more than my wife weighs. I lost like my wife and a small child.
Wow.
So,
that is remarkable. And you've managed to stay on task with your schedule and your eating, and it takes a lot of work to do that.
Yeah. Well, got to do it though. I want to stick around a little bit longer. I got a lot of work to do.
Oh yeah.
And anyway, so enough of us.
Yeah, well, we probably should bring Rabbi David Katz or David Katz. I'm not sure how he prefers it. Great guy. He's actually really a nice guy.
He is?
Beyond everything what anybody else would say about him, he's a great guy.
Well, but he fits right in with, if people are talking about him, he fits right in with us.
Of course.
If you're, come on, that's our claim to fame is.
That's right. When you shake and stir, people know.
That's it. So tell us about Rabbi Katz.
Well, Rabbi Katz is a really unique individual. He has a website called soulmazel.com, or I think it's .com or .org. .com. And Soul Mazel is really dedicated to bringing information to people of the nations, how they can experience a walk with Hashem and a walk in Torah without the necessity of conversion. And he has this whole series that he teaches about the ger toshav, or some people would call themselves B'nai Noach. But he really has gone into sort of define the whole thing according to tradition, according to the Torah, and has really got some information that is causing ears to perk. Now, not everybody is excited to hear this information, and there are others that feel completely liberated. And, of course, that's the reason why that we have him on the show today, because he's completely polarizing. No, not really. Let's bring him on.
No,
Rabbi,
wait, I
David
got every time I hear Toshav, man, it makes me laugh. There's this guy. Why I laugh about it? There's this guy out there. I'm going to say his name. I don't care. Bill Cloud. Bill Cloud is a Hebrew roots guy, and it's funny because he's touted as kind of one of these experts, and it always makes me laugh because our old friend Rico, that's one of his go-to guys, until he met me, and realized that I actually knew what I was talking about. But anyway, I heard this guy do a teaching on that.
Okay.
And, and he was talking about Eliyahu. And and he was trying to say the Hebrew, and he said Toshavi.
Toshavi?
It's Toshave. Toshavi. And I'm like, I called up. No. I called up Rico and I said, do me a favor. Tell your friend to stop speaking hillbilly Hebrew. And and if he doesn't know how to pronounce it, don't pronounce it. Anyway, let me bring on Rabbi Katz before I get myself in more trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Rabbi Katz, how are you doing today?
Y'all talking about the Ger Toshav?
The Ger Toshave.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Ger Toshav. Get her done.
Get her done.
Just kidding. How are you guys doing?
Doing awesome.
Doing great. We're really glad to have you on. I would like you to just take a moment to tell us how in the world did you stumble across being a guy from Cincinnati or from Ohio who does Aliyah, goes to Orthodox yeshiva in Tzfat. How do you fall into this whole shtick of B'nai Noach, Ger, whatever you want to call it? How do you fall into this, and why do you even really care?
The two things, how I got involved with Noahide and let's say classic Orthodox background was the same token. Mm-hmm. Basically, I mean, there's a lot of little ins and outs that are different, but it's an interesting story. Tshuva started in my early 20s, late teens, coming back to the Torah. And out of Dayton led me to Tampa for a little sabbatical from Ohio. I had some family down there, went to school, transferred, and just kind of got a change of scenery. And just started learning, getting educated lightly. I didn't know where I was going to go. I had never heard of a Noahide, and I didn't know even what a Jew was, really. Even though I was Jewish, didn't know much. I came from a very secular background. I had the bar mitzvah, and then it all ended from there. So by the time I was in Tampa, this is, pre-modern internet era, like right around the turn of the millennium, I had what was called Web TV. You guys remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Web TV, right? And they had a chat software called Talk City. It's still in existence today. It's very good. And back then, chatting was new. There was no IM, so to speak. And on Talk City, on I shouldn't say this because I was a kosher Jewish boy, but on Friday nights, before I was religious, on the weekend hours, you could chat deep into the night, and it was great. Really, really good. They had spiritual chat rooms. I mean, back then I was exploring where this was going to go. So there was the Christian rooms, and there was no Jewish room, but there was Baha'i faith. I found that interesting back then. And there was the Buddhist room, and for somebody getting interested in God, it was like sky's the limit. Where do I go? You want to check everything out. But one of them that was really the best was called the Reflecting Pool. That was kind of like a mishmash of everybody that's interesting, eclectic souls. And I met some people, and a woman that was there who ended up becoming a dear friend of mine. She was much older. Still to this day, we're great friends. and she was living in Cleveland. And lo and behold, in another week, I was going to be moving to Cleveland because I had family. So from Dayton to Tampa to Cleveland. Up in Cleveland, that's really where tshuva set in. It was coming back really hardcore. I started learning the Torah on Sunday morning and stuff. And a classic setting for anybody that understands Litvish, like the Lithuanian classic Talmudic style. The really yeshivish guys.
You went hardcore.
Mamish, right? So those kind of guys that talk that way. And I was kind of brought into a classic Orthodox setting. Mm-hmm. And before I was committed to Orthodoxy, I would walk to shul on Saturday mornings because that's just what people did. I didn't really understand why I was doing it. It was close enough where I didn't need to drive, so that was convenient. And across the street was Temple whatever, and
oh, the suspense is killing me. I guess
Temple whatever.
Yeah, well, his internet connection dropped, so we'll give him a second to get back with us in a moment. And, we could actually finish telling the story and just make up something.
He's back.
There we go. You're back. Okay, you're in Temple Beth something.
You were in Temple whatever.
Yeah, Temple whatever it was called. And am I coming?
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up, but you go ahead.
All right. Sorry, the power lines are still messed up from the snowstorm, so please forgive me. So I walked into the synagogue, and they were no yarmulkes, playing guitar and singing Hallelujah. So it wasn't exactly where I needed to be. So I went back to the Orthodox synagogue. And from then on, I understood that I wanted to do an Orthodox approach. Right. You guys still with me?
Yeah.
Oh yes,
just
we're here.
Be sure the connection didn't go bad. All right, so now at that time, I'm still chatting away. And in the eclectic room, another woman finds me, about another older woman, and she finds my story interesting. That I'm this young, early 20s Torah student, and I'm trying to talk about whatever it was I was talking about back then. Trying to just grasp at something. Who knows what it was? I mean, I was studying for all of maybe a couple months, and she says that she is a Torah teacher. And I'm like, okay, why not? But she's not Jewish. And I didn't know enough to be concerned. Now, years later, like now, you can look back and say she was a Noahide. I didn't know what that word was. Maybe she said it and I didn't know. And if she's listening, she's actually from the Dallas area, and I would love to see where she ended up. Her handle was Ruby Wings. And we started to get friendly and talk about Torah and stuff. And I just bought my first Chumash by my rabbi's request. And she says, do you know who Malki Tzedek is?
Uh-oh.
And I said, no, actually, I don't. She said, it's Shem. I said, oh, isn't that Noah's son? And she said, yeah. And it was interesting. I don't know. The name is just everything. Everybody gets pretty much hung up on Shem, don't they? When you hear Malki Tzedek?
Right.
How's it pronounced in English? How do you say it? Malki Tezed? How do you say it? Whatever it is. Malki Tzedek. I forget how you say it in English.
Melchizedek.
Melchizedek. Yeah, I can't even say it hardly anymore.
I know. I don't know how to say
it's
it.
Melchizedek.
So I go to yeshiva now a couple months later, and she tells me all this stuff. She says, you'll make aliyah. Like a real supportive Noahide. And I'm saying, why is she so concerned? I ended up making aliyah very, quickly after. I get to yeshiva, and I buy a really interesting book by Rabbi Yitzchak Ginsburg on the Hebrew alphabet. And in that book, it talks about 4 craftsmen of redemption. And now that's really interesting. And it's Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, Eliyahu, and the righteous priest, Cohen Tzedek. And Rashi, I looked it up because it's interesting. And Rashi on the commentary says on that part that the righteous priest is Shem. Now that is interesting to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm asking everybody in yeshiva, wow, do you guys see this? Malki Tzedek and Shem and redemption. And they all looked at me kind of like with an evil stare. Why are you learning about this? And my excitement just dropped like a ton of bricks. And I said, well, I thought we learned Torah in yeshiva. And they said, these are young guys. These aren't the rabbis. These are just people that are probably freaked out by why I'm learning about Shem of people. So it definitely got into me, and it was not going anywhere. Now, shortly after that, I got involved with the teachings of the Ramchal. Ramchal is, you guys are familiar with Rabbi Greenbaum in the Tiv, so he translated a lot of the Ramchal's works.
Right.
And one of the things that the Ramchal talks about is that Malki Tzedek, his prophecy, he's the school of prophecy, and that's in classic literature, says that Mashiach is anointed with the prophecy of Malki Tzedek Shem. Now, this all happened in a very short period of time. So I've now seen enough evidence that you're not going to tell me no. I mean, if the Ramchal is saying it, for most people, that's it. I mean, he's as good as it gets on these things. The next 7-8 years are going by, and I'm now looking. If I see Shem or Malki Tzedek, I'm chalking it up. And at the same time, I'm growing in classic Orthodox background. I was a bacher in the yeshiva in Sfat, Shalom Rav, in the old city. It's like actually kind of a joke. It's a half joke, but I think it's halfway funny. Is that the lineage goes like this, and this is it's serious, but it's whatever. Vilna Gaon, Chaim Volozhin, Yitzchak Volozhin, the Netziv of the Volozhin Yeshiva, Rav Kook, Rav Hutner, Rav Freifeld, Rav Weingart, David Katz. All the way back. So everyone is a student teacher of essential. Every one of those people was essential student to their teacher.
So back up for a second.
Rav Kook was essential to what was it? The that was the busy of Europe. And
it sounds like R2D2 is talking to us.
Back to the Dimmadome.
You're breaking up.
Rabbi Katz, you're breaking up real bad.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. But I have a question. I need you to back up for a second.
Yeah.
You mentioned Rav Hutner.
Yes.
What's the connection there to you?
Rav Hutner was the Rosh Yeshiva of Chaim Berlin.
I know that. There's a reason why I'm asking.
He's your great uncle, isn't he?
No. Actually, Rav Hutner was my rabbi's rabbi for life. My rabbi, Rabbi Avner Germain.
All right, so Rav Hutner's student was Rabbi Freifeld in Far Rockaway. Right. And then my Rosh Yeshiva was a very close student of Rav Freifeld. And then I had the longest tenure in my yeshiva in Sfat. So that's the lineage.
Oh, okay. Cool. So we're connected.
So I was there, my whole entire tshuva is there.
So we're third cousins.
Yeah, I think so.
On our rabbi side.
Exactly. I was in the old city the whole time. I came right to Sfat, stayed in Sfat, got married in Sfat, had kids in Sfat. And again, over the years, I just compiled a nice nest egg of Shem Noahide Torah. Because it came in on such a bedrock of truth. It was, how could you get rid of it? It was just, Malki Tzedek and Shem and the righteous priest and Malki Tzedek with the Ramchal. It was dynamite. Really brought these things to life. And there's a lot more I teach on it, in the Shem series. So I was really brought in a nice way. And it really gave a compliment to my classic Talmudic studies. I'm a Litvak by definition. Right? I'm a Talmudist, I guess you could say. And my smicha was given in the laws of Shabbos. So very classic Orthodox Litvish approach to learning. At the same time, in Sfat, you can't help but get into the mysticism of Sfat. Mm-hmm. And that goes without saying. The Arizal Loriana Kabbalah was founded here, and the Zohar was penned just across the street in Meron.
Right.
So the Sfat, by definition, has a very eclectic Orthodox community. It's not just this or that. Everyone's together because it's a small hilltop community of Kabbalah and Talmud. And the Shulchan Aruch was penned in Sfat too. So it's a very special town. And if you get into it, anybody can get into it here. And if you have the merit to get into it, Sfat is very rewarding in that you get a very authentic Jewish education. By the end of, let's say, a decade, I had a really nice amount of Noahide Torah, and I used to pray at the synagogue of Shem and Aver. Now, what that is, where Jacob, if anybody that learns in Parshas Toldos, where Jacob was a man of the tent, right? Mm-hmm. That is the cave of Shem and Aver that's right across the street from my house. So every Shabbos, I would daven and pray in the cave, and on Saturday morning, you bring in you celebrate Shabbos with a kiddush over wine in the actual cave of Jacob and Shem. And at the end of my yeshiva tenure, I would go to night learning program, or early morning, whatever you want to call it, 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. In the cave itself. So for some reason, I just was very gravitated towards that area. In my personal life, it was time to leave yeshiva after over a decade. The bigger horizons. I just was in the same location for such a long time. And a fellow in Sfat, who's actually a Noahide, he was my next door neighbor. And we had a lot of long talks. And he said, why don't you teach the Noahides? Now, I had been teaching Jews the whole time, just different classes on the Parsha, and just a regular Jewish kind of very yeshivish in the twang of it, mamish gewaldic, right? And my style. And now I was being asked to give Noahide lessons. And I thought, why not? This is the time. I went on the internet, found Noahide Nations. Everybody sees my name ascribed to Noahide Nations. That's why I'm no longer there. But I cold called them, and we set up an arrangement that they would broadcast my lessons, and I would teach for Noahide Nations. Now, at that time, I don't really know what a Noahide is, not the way I do now. I mean, obviously, non-Jew, Torah, Hashem, formerly this and that. That's surface material. But if I ever had a working relationship with one, not really. Not since Ruby Wings, but then I didn't know anything. So at first there was a bit of getting familiar, and we did a series of Shem, Torah of Shem, as in Shem, son of Noah, 34 classes. Now by the middle, we were getting on great, and I saw there's something here. This is not some kind of non-Jew and he's over there and I'm over here and I'm doing a little favor. It became a bond, and the bond was over Torah, and these people were giving me real Torah back, and everybody's going to think I'm going to come in and I teach you and you sit down and act nice and then I leave. And that wasn't it. It was too real. It was too authentic. It was even mystical, and the Torah that was coming back at me was, I'm saying, this is fantastic. How do you see that in the Torah? Because I was being reflected back Torah that I never thought of, never even heard of. Things asked me to look up things I never would have dreamt. And the more I researched, I'm finding answers in the rabbinic writings that have sat on shelves for literally over 1,000 years. Mm. And all of a sudden, my learning is off the charts. I don't know how I'd put it. The Torah of Shem, for one. Yeah, I mean, just everything I'd learned was being flipped around, not changed and not altered, but on a radically deeper level, radically. And it all peaked out when I was writing my articles, and I learned about the Para Duma, the red heifer. Now, if anybody in the Texas crowd knows that with the Temple Institute, the red heifer is a hot item.
Absolutely.
And as I read the verses, lo and behold, I find the ger, whatever he is with the red heifer. The ger, I forget the language of the verse, but for you, your people, the blah blah blah, and the ger and your gate, or whatever language they use for ger. And I said, could it be? Is this really the Noahide with the red heifer? And I looked it up, and lo and behold, it is. And this is all classic material. This is the Vilna Gaon and his work called Aderet Eliyahu. And I was shocked. And I called Noahide Nations. Like in Israel, it was probably 3 or 4 in the morning because I work at night and the time difference. I said, "You're not going to believe this. The red heifer is applicable to the Noahide," and they're kind of in disbelief. I mean, this is game changing if you're right. And I knew I was right. I mean, it was written right there. So this was now, then at the same time, the students are saying, Rabbi Katz, can we keep Shabbos? And I'm saying, no. Everybody knows that, right? The answer is no. But you start researching, they keep asking and asking. And you say, maybe I should look into this. Maybe I shouldn't just give the party line and look into it. And that kind of penetration was happening every day. Every student asking me really hard questions, seemingly dodgy. One question was, were the Jews before Mount Sinai the Noahites? And you hear something like that, you say, no way, come on. That is so not kosher, it's not even funny. But if you just can hang on for 1 second and just hear it, don't reject it just because you've been told to. So I have 50,000 books on hard disk called Otzer Chachma. And I look it up because they told me they heard that there was a Judah or something before Sinai. And what they were talking about was Esav's wife Yehudit, Judith. Everyone's heard of that, right? And then how could it be that his wife was named Judith, or Yehudit, the Jewish woman, before Judah, before Sinai, before Jews, so to speak? And there's a commentary, a famous Kabbalist named the Rashash. He said like this: before, back in the old days, before Sinai and before even the forefathers, there were two kinds of people on earth of the so-called Bnei Noach, literal sons of Noah. You were an idolater, or you were an acknowledger of God. And what does Yehuda mean? Modeh, Yehuda, is to acknowledge God.
Correct.
And he said that those people, they were called, however, I don't know the grammar you would use, Modaim, Hodaim, Yudaim, whatever, acknowledgers of God. So the story is, Esav marries Judith, Yehudit. She became a non-idolater. And he marries her to show Isaac and Rebekah, look, Dad, Mom, I married a kosher girl. She rejected idolatry. I can get the blessings like Jacob. Now, what she did was she goes against her repentance, and she has the law of a mumar, an apostate. So the kids that are born of that are born into, apostasy, right? But in definition, she was good, but she was like a heretic. So for that definition, there was a concept of Yehuda. Now, slide over laterally to Shem. Shem sent his daughter Tamar to marry Judah, and Shem falls in love with the whole Judah lineage. To the Midrash where Solomon and Shem met at Mount Sinai 1,300 years later. It's an incredible Midrash. So Shem is in love with the Judah lineage, the Judah, Jews, the whole thing. And the point is that Judah, as a repentant, merited the name of a person that rejects idolatry. So when you look in the Gemara, the Talmud, Megillah, I believe it's 14a or b, he who rejects idolatry is I forget the language, is called Yehuda, a language of Judah in the etymology. So you hear these questions. Now, the Noahide, he doesn't know the Rashash, he doesn't know the Talmud Bavli, he just follows his heart, and I know what I see. It says, Judith, Rabbi, could it be? And the rabbi is saying, what, you're the new Jew, you're taking over, this is ridiculous, they're going to think that I'm this and that. But if you just listen, I know it's difficult, but listen, hear out the question, have a little bit of intellectual honesty to look it up, 90% of the time you'll be utterly shocked. Whether it's the ger of the red heifer, the Judah thing in Megillah, all the way through, you will be shocked. And the point is, once I saw the perversion of the ger and how it was always a convert. Now, most of the time, it's not to the exclusion of a convert, but it's to the inclusion of the Noahide. And with that thinking, these things were just jumping off the charts. Famous Noahides in Tanakh that we are taught were converts. The biggest one is Naaman, chapter 5, verse 1 in Kings. Classic Ger Toshav, the Ger, the Noahide. And to the uneducated ear, he'll be called a convert, and you'll forget all about him, and you miss the boat. With those experiences coming in multiple times a day, you start to see things pretty differently. And the crux of the matter is, without a yeshivish classic Orthodox background, it is going to be very, very hard to reconcile the situation.
Wow. So let me ask you, what has been, first, before we go to this next question, let me just ask this. Please give us a definition, because you just said that a person who utterly rejects idolatry and takes upon himself their full trust in emunah, faith in Hashem, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Are they B'nai Noach? Are they Ger? Are they what are they? What is this person if they're not a Jew, not born a Jew?
It gets very, very, very shady to ascertain who he is until he touches down. And I'll give you an analogy. I'm going to ask you, Rod, when does Shabbos come in?
Say again. I didn't. You said, when does Shabbos come?
When on Friday night, when should I expect to celebrate Shabbos? And when should I stop turning on enough lights?
At the time of the lighting of the candles, right? At sundown.
When is
before
sundown?
Actually. Well, it depends on where you're at.
When is that?
That when the sun has reached its place behind the what do you call it, the horizon.
When the sunlight can be seen over the horizon, can you see the sunbeam?
No, you cannot see the sunbeam.
But can you see light coming over the horizon?
You can see light. Yes, I think that's it.
The point is, it's called a Zman Suffolk, a doubtful time.
Correct.
So what we do is we're stringent. Mm-hmm. The actual time of darkness is not known to man.
Correct.
Some people say it's a long interval. Some people say it's in the snap of a finger. And we don't know when. Women stop at candle lighting. Men stop at what's called shkia, when the sun disappears. But in all honesty, you have more time than that. We just don't know when it is. So too when Shabbos goes out. Some people keep 72 minutes. Some people keep 3 stars. When does Shabbos go out? We don't know.
So for me to ask that question
it's a challenge to know what is night and what is day.
Gotcha. So let me ask this.
This is the first discussion in the Talmud when it opens up this discussion.
Right. So with that analogy, when does a person actually touch down and go from being a Gentile, Goyim, somebody in the nation?
You touch down to the point nobody can, should, or will argue. You are fully engaged and prepared for the path of the so-called righteous Gentile when you are on the other side of Sinai. Sinai exists. You recognize it exists. It is a break in the continuum of B'nai Noach. And on this side of Sinai, you come under what's called Din Yisrael, the law of Israel, that Israel received the Torah at Sinai. And what you're saying, it doesn't have to be, Israel this, Israel that. What you're saying is, I have, spiritual eyeballs, and whatever happened at Sinai, that's me. That's me. I identify with that. That is me. And I'm accepting that. Whatever that is, that's what I accept. And the Jews will say, that means that the 7 laws of Noah, as Moses commanded the Israelites at Marah, at the pre-Sinai giving. And you say, yes, that's me. That's who and what I am. And according to the Torah definition of that. At that time, if you do that in front of 3 scholars, and you can be counted on as, somewhat knowledgeable of how those 7 laws work, meaning it's not overnight. Mm-hmm. But you're familiar. You can. We're talking, between reading and not reading. The difference. It's pretty obvious. If you can read, you can read. If you can't, you can't. So if you're fluent, you know what the 7 laws are. You know 3 Jews. They know your name. It's defined, black and white.
Right.
You now can be called a ger toshav. Now, if that bothers people, because of the uneducated, I don't know what that is, because most people don't know what that is. You can be called, let's say, a proper ben Noach, and they still might not or have a bad connotation. What I personally like is the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He says, let's get out of the politics. I don't know what people know. I don't know what they don't know. I don't want to discuss Krisis 9a to people that don't know. Let's go with the Rambam and say, Chasidei Umos Ha'olam. The Chasidei, the righteous or pious of the nations. Mm-hmm. If you can call yourself that, you are a Ben Olam Haba, you merit the next world, you're good to go, you have touchdown, you're on the other side of Sinai, you've rejected idolatry, everything that was, let's say, negative before Sinai is thrown away, clean slate, you're good to go, that's where you are.
So now
that's called Mahadran or Glot. That's like covered all bases.
Right. So the question that comes from these folks now is going to be, well, what about observance? Where does it come in when we start talking about Shabbos, when we talk about kashrus, when we talk about, all those kind of things that they felt like they were doing when they were in idolatry. Now they've come out and you're telling them that, and most of them would agree with everything that you're saying. They'll say, I've come to the other side of Har Sinai, and I accept everything. I accept that yoke upon myself. How do we answer them when it comes to something like Shabbos?
Shabbos in particular?
Yeah.
Very hard issue.
I know it's a very hard issue. That's why I'm asking.
The hardest.
That's why I'm asking you, Rabbi.
For that, we have Ger 21. Please download from your. The point is, it's so new, and not new to me, right, and not new to you, but new to our generation.
Right.
Which is to say, earlier generations, they would have no problem with this. I'd say, yeah, Krisis 9a, let's do it. And nowadays, when's the last time anybody learned Krisis 9a? So too, we might learn, the laws of Shemitah, because we had the land of Israel.
Right.
Now, 500 years ago, they might have said, who's Shemitah? So for every generation learns something to the pro and con of former or later generations.
Right.
Today, our time, and again, the Lubavitcher Rebbe is a fantastic source for this. He said that for 2,000 years, these things were not written because what are you going to do? You're going to answer for the one guy that came to the shtetl from Poland who was not Jewish that wanted to keep Shabbos?
Right.
So it just didn't get written down. And so the tradition is there, but you have to really earn it. The Jew, rabbi, and the non-Jew working together and churn it out. Right. The answer is, and I'll just say this, in this particular Talmud, and for those listening, Krisis 9a, okay, it says the ger toshav, it can keep a non-Jewish Shabbos. It doesn't say that, but I'm paraphrasing that part, because what it does say is a Shabbos of three different ways.
Right.
Either a mundane Shabbos completely, and you say, hey, Shabbat Shalom, have a nice day. Or like Chol Moed, the days in between the two holidays of Passover, of the 7 days, right, the in-between days. So you ease back from labor. You don't particularly go out of your way to work on those days. Like you might take off from your job. You might not go buy a new house. Okay, ease up and relax. Or like Yom Tov, the holiday itself, which is not like Shabbos exactly, because you're allowed to cook and transfer a flame, even smoke a cigarette, things like this. Those three prescribed definitions of observance are not a Jewish Shabbos. They are the prescription of the Talmud, and they are applicable to every ger toshav on the planet.
Interesting. So how do you does that go along with Yeshayahu 56, where it talks about the Ben Hanacher?
Yeah. So through Isaiah 56, you're right. It talks about the Nachri.
Correct.
My understanding of the Nachri is he is not quite a Noahide.
Correct.
But he is on his way or freshly out of the church. Now, the problem with him, according to, let's say, Jewish law, let's say he wants to be a ger toshav, a Noahide, chasid olam, his heart's in it, okay? He loves Hashem. He talks the talk, walks the walk. He's good to go. But there's a residue of the church in him, and he can't help it. That you can get me out of Dayton, but you can't get the Dayton out of Davie, right?
Right.
Thing. So his identification of what is Hashem, it might have a little bit of what in there. So until that's worked out, he really has to work it out. I mean, that's true with anything. Do you go to if you haven't been to a gym in 30 years, are you going to hop on like when you were 17? No way. You're going to get back on level 1 on the treadmill. You're not going to do level 15 like when you were 15 on the football team. No way. So you have to work it out. You have to learn what are the principles of Hashem. What are the basic philosophies of the Torah? That's the idea of the Talmud Bava Kama, a Nachri, and it says Nachri. You'll see the English translated as Gentile. The Nachri that learns Torah is comparable to the high priest. A famous thing.
What happened?
Uh-oh. Here we go.
We were on a roll. Well, with that snowstorm, we're lucky that we had a connection for this long.
I know it. Pretty good. So we'll see if we get him back, because I have a question from someone in your neck of the woods. Did you see that? From Devora in Florida?
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't know she was in Florida.
Yeah. I believe she's in Florida.
Okay.
So as soon as we get Rabbi Katz back on,
we have a comment from Jeffa too, but
well, really? What was the comment from Jeffa while we're waiting?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I want to say it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I want to embarrass him on the air. I do that enough.
No, we don't want to do that. We love Jeff.
We do love him, but I still like embarrassing him.
No, we don't want to do that either.
Oh God, this Rabbi
Nachman. So you want to try to see if you can conjure up Rabbi Katz again?
Yeah, we're trying to get him. I'll try a Kabbalistic since it's Shabbat.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. See, I did an incantation and.
Yeah, we were seeing if we can conjure up your spirit.
All right, it is not my internet. It is the 4 feet of snow that was out there.
Right.
Okay.
So the Talmud says a Nachri who learns Torah is comparable to the high priest.
Right.
Wow.
We lost him again.
That is not a good sound.
Boop, 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 boop.
Boom, boom, wow. Well,
Okay,
we'll give him a chance to come back on. He'll be on in a second.
Yeah. We'll try.
Devor, we'll get to your question in just a second.
There we go.
Yep.
Here we go. We're back on. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So he has an obligation to learn and get the 7 laws and learn about God. And so it is endorsed on every level to get everyone learning and involved. Mm-hmm. The question is there has to be a process of coming out. So that even the Akum level of definition of non-Jew, he who sits in the church but questions, right? He says, is this really, what time is it? Is it really true? And we got to go somewhere. He's not even paying attention to what's going on. He's thinking, and on the internet he might look up, what is this, what is that? He has to learn too. Now there is limits on what they learn, right? You don't just throw the whole book at them. And for good reason. The point is to learn effectively, not just to say, well, it's a freebie and here, learn it up and have a good day and nice knowing you. You have to use some wisdom here, and hit the points of interest. So Rashi explains, you teach about God. That is, Noahide Law 101 in the Torah. So in the Isaiah, it mentions the Nachri. And the commentaries explain to show even this guy, he's not forgotten. He's not left out. He essentially is going to be on the way, teach him Torah. He has a place in what's called the house of prayer, the base of Mikdash, the holy temple. And there's other words used along that commentary as well. I forget what is Nachri, and I forget whether poetic terms are used. But in the commentaries, it says these are the Ger Toshav. Some even called Ger Tzedek, i.e. non-convert Ger Tzedek, which is a big revelation. Not many people are on to what that is. I could get into that at another time. All types of non-Jews in the commentaries are suggested in Isaiah 56.
So in 56:4, it addresses unto the Saracim, I'm sorry, the one who is what's the word for it?
A eunuch.
Eunuch, but is it actually talking about a eunuch or actually one who has separated himself from his idolatry?
So I told we went over this. Did I explain it?
Yes.
Then, or did I forget?
No, you did, but I wanted to go over the air, and I wanted to.
What did I tell you? Is I saw it. I was reading it to you, and I read it. What did I say?
I can't remember now.
I mean, I can look it up, but I think I believe it's the Ger Toshav.
Right. That
I can look it up.
I mean, that was my understanding. It was the guy one step further away from being a Nachri. He separated himself.
Okay. Yeah.
But we can go back later. Hey, we have a question here from Devora, who went through a conservative conversion 10 years ago, obviously through proper conservative conversion. She says, 3 rabbis saying I was Jewish. Could that be my ger acceptance in actuality? Because she went through a conservative conversion. Would she be considered a ger?
In yeshiva, there's 2 words we use. Ger? Yeah?
Go ahead. I'm listening.
But I'm only going to say it if I can say it with a yeshivish accent.
Oh, please. Well,
Gavalt, come on.
Just joking. But it's called Lecha Chila and Bedi Evid. Okay? Bedi Evid means like a secondary quality, and Lecha Chila means optimal. Okay? So I'll give you an example. Lecha Chila, my internet would not drop out because of the snowstorm. Bedi Evid, since we planned this before the snowstorm, will go on anyways, hoping it doesn't drop out again.
I thought those 2 people.
There's no problems, but if there are problems, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
But you should really shoot for optimal in this case. I think that's my opinion. It's not the 3 people is what's called a chumrah. It's a strengthener. Okay, because ultimately it's between you and God. The 3 witnesses or scholars, it's not binding in the acceptance, but it's strongly a part of it.
Correct.
So That's what I'm saying. You're good to go, but keep going, because if you're saying I don't want 3 people, well, that defeats the purpose. That means you're never going to go to shul. You're never going to be around 3 scholarly Jews. I mean, it's inevitable. It's going to happen anyways if you're going on that path.
The question Devor has to ask, I think, is if she went through a conservative, not an Orthodox conversion, would that mean that she's actually just now on the path of being a ger? And what does it mean to be optimal? What if you were to say?
This is something totally different. This is very confusing because they don't know what a ger is. The conservative world largely doesn't know. She's not intending to be a Noahide in terms of the conversion affiliation or conservative affiliation. It's just that everyone is hitting on the wrong areas. Right. We're looking at you as a conservative Jew. You're looking at it as a Noahide. No one's on the same page, right? So the point is it should be lined up, right? It's not a valid conversion, and at the same time, it's not a domain where it's nurturing to the Noahide, because the intentions are not being met on both sides. And I think in this area, the best results are, let's be upfront, right? I'm a Noahide. I'm holding here. I'm not planning on doing more mitzvot. I am. I'm not. I want this one, that one. Do you know what a non-Jew is in your shul? Do we accept Noahides here? For bias aside, I think it best is that everybody's on the same page. And again, does it ultimately matter? No. But the point is that we need to work together as 2 people, the Jewish people and the Noahides. So the more that the Noahide makes a presence in the Jewish circles, hopefully Orthodox, because that's really where this is going to change. Is going to be the most felt. And the Orthodox is accustomed to the Noahide, and they're bonding on the right principles, I think that's where you get, what's that word called with nuclear bomb? Fission or fusion? Whatever that word is. Was it?
Correct. Nuclear fusion, yeah.
Okay, so that's where the fusion is going to happen.
So what kind of pushback have you gotten from the sort of the normative rabbinical community?
The irony is, and I knew it was going to be this way, because like I said, I'm very yeshivish in my approach. I mean, I speak regular English in my classes, but when I joke around with the yeshivish, I can't do that. That is not foreign to me. I mean, put it mildly. When I started teaching Noahide classes, I made a point to speak like an American.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because it was funny. I went out with some friends and I talk about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they said, excuse me, do you learn in Hebrew?" I said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Why?" They said, "Because you say Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." I said, "I know. I don't say Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov because I made a point that if I come out here speaking yeshivish, these people are going to say I don't understand a word. I'm getting out of here."
So you got to at least put on a little bit of it for us. Come on.
Mamish gewaldig, right? So the yeshivish world, like I said, I can talk the lingo, So I'll just do a little bit, right? So let's say there's a bookstore in Sfat called Eliezer's House of Books. Everyone hangs out there to talk Torah, buy books in Sfat. And I go in there, and I find a lot of yeshivish people in there. So I'll say, I don't know, Ger Toshav is mamish this, mamish that, the whole lingo. And they love it. Because they'll say, I remember I was learning, Croesus, and there was the Ger Toshav, and they hear it. So it's recalling, imagine this. Imagine you're a rabbi, and a guy comes up to you with long hair, and he says, "Rabbi, hey, I'm a Nazir." And you say, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, I haven't had wine in 30 years. Can you teach me about the Nazir?" And you say, "That is weird." Because there's a Talmudic tractate called Nazir. Should there be a Nazirite? Right? We have the Torah to teach him. But every day you don't see Nazirites walking around. But the Noahide or the Ger is littered all through the Talmud. And here's a people that are literal, authentic Ger.
And they're coming alive in the nations right now.
Right. And it's like talking to a Sota, her stomach explodes with the name of God if she cheats on her husband. I mean, these weird, random, far out tractates of Talmud and the Noahide. So you teach the yeshivish crowd this, and they love it. And, for anybody listening about my Ger Tzedek stuff, whatever that means, there's a wonderful rabbi that he passed away over the summer, a dear friend of mine and mentor, Rabbi Silver. When I first started this, in Yevamos 48b, it says the Ger Tzedek keeps Shabbos as per the 10 Commandments, like the non-Jew, but in the 10 Commandments, the Ger and your gate keep Shabbos. I said, Rabbi Silver, this has to be a non-Jew. Is this a Ger Toshav? Even though it's called Ger Tzedek? He says, what are you asking me? Is this a non-Jew? It seems to me it's a non-Jew. He says, is it not obvious to you? And I kept pushing him. Are you serious? And he's like, I don't hear your question. What do you want from me? Mm-hmm. It's clearly a non-Jew. I said, okay. Because no one here has ever heard of that. So when you say Ger Tzedek as a non-Jew, i.e. not a convert, and you give him a bit of the Torah behind it, it's very rich, very amazing. I mean, people love it. Now, once you remove yourself from that really, really authentic yeshivish mindset, mm-hmm. you're going to run into one sentence over and over and over again. That's not what I was told. And you're going to hear it. Ger Tzedek is a non-Jew. That's not what I was told. Ger Toshav can keep Shabbos. That's not what I was told. We were told a lot of things. For example, a rabbi in the laws of Shabbos, or even let's say in the laws of speech, Lashon Hara. We know what that is, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone says the Chafetz Chaim, a rabbi who wrote the book on Lashon Hara practically, everyone says he probably spoke more than anybody because he knew what you could say. But if you don't know what to say, everyone says, I don't know if you can say that. That's Lashon Hara. I don't know if you can say that. So people are watching their speech. Whereas the Chafetz Chaim had the liberty to say what he wanted under the laws of what he knew.
Right.
So it's for Shabbos. Rabbi, can I do this and this? No. Why not? Because you don't know what you're doing. And you're very easily going to come to a mistake. So the rabbi, though, he'll do it because he knows the ins and outs of the law. It's called chumrah and kula, stringency and leniency. Now, with the convert or ger, I'm not, the rabbi, so to speak, I'm not going to teach this as a non-Jew. It's confusing. Right. A ger is a convert. Go home, have a nice day. But now there's a people coming up, a lot of them. There are these Noahides, whoever they are, and they want more to do than 7, and this and that. And the only liberation of them is in the Torah called the Torah of the ger. So what are you going to do? Should we call them by an English generic term Noahide forever? I mean, that's kind of insulting to say that there's going to be a temple and Mashiach, the Noahides.
Especially since there is a Torah for the ger.
That's right. It's there. It's there. So the fact is, you're going to hear that's not what I was told. Can a ger keep Shabbos? Yes, that's not what I was told. Well, but when's the last time you picked up Krisis 9a? How about never? All right, unless you're really into this, you're not going to. Unless you're dealing with Noahides, which is unprecedented before the Lubavitcher Rebbe, you're not going to. So for all intents and purposes, a ger is a convert. But it's not limited to that. There's a joke that I like to explain it by. When photographing Bigfoot, don't blame the photographer. Bigfoot is just blurry. Right? So the ger is just blurry. Meaning why? Because he's not one guy. For every time you say he's a convert, it also applies to a ger toshav. And you'll say, well, which one is it? There's no question. Which one is it? It's both. Unless you're told which one it isn't by explicit, definition, assume both. Or if you don't want to assume, learn it inside with a rabbi, and you'll see it's both. And I've looked up 90% of the ger in the Tanakh, and let's say probably 100%. And when you learn it out, you'll see each one. Does it apply? Does it not apply? And you need to look up each time.
Wow.
So no one's looking that up. So if you're not going to look it up, you'll just say it's not what I was told. But if you look it up, as is anything in the Torah, then as in any revelation in Torah, you'll find a revelation. And you have right to take part of that revelation.
Oh. Let me ask you, how can people who are listening to this find you and communicate with you and listen to your teaching?
Go ahead and visit Soul Mazal, SOULM as in Mary, AZAL.blogspot.com, not org, Rod.
Oh, boy. I don't even know if they can remember. We'll post that up on the Facebook.
Soulmazal.blogspot.com. But better yet, if you really want contact, and I am, as Rod said, I am open. Rabbi Katz at virtualyeshiva.com. Email me. Set up a time to Skype. We send the questions. My job is to get this out there, and I can't do that if nobody gets in touch and gets involved and gets interested. So I'm here. I'm available. The website has the articles, the lectures on YouTube. You can search for Soul Mazal, and you can find the videos come up. Email Rod and Nativ. Find us on Facebook, Soul Mazal. A little bit of effort to find me, you'll find me, and it's out there. We have a lot of material, and it's very much available.
Well, we really appreciate you being on the show. Ira, do you have anything that you wanted to say or close out in comments?
No, I'm good. I think I think he covered everything that we needed to have covered today.
Yeah, absolutely. Rabbi Katz, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking time in your late evening to be with us here in the States. So we ask that Hashem give you strength to continue on doing what you're doing, and may you prosper and do well. Amen. You guys too. Mamish Gewaldig. Mamish Gewalt. Mamish. Keep it up. You guys are awesome, and thanks for having me. All right. Shalom. All righty. Thank you, everybody, for listening today. We hope that answered some questions for you, and if it didn't, then write us and let us know what we can do and who we can bring on to help you in your journey to release you
from the Matrix.